Good afternoon and welcome to a special edition of the Yonkers Voice. Today is Friday, January 23rd. I'm Roberto Ferru. We've touched base in our groups, with our members, with people in the community, on issues that have crossed our televisions, have been on our computers. Today we sit with the Muslim community. We sit specifically with the Yonkers Islamic Center. I'm here with the Ahmad, Masood Mas. I am sitting with the organizer, and I sit with Misbah Salis, the assistant imam. We're here to educate you about the Muslim culture and get their view on how they're received in our community and what they would like to see for our community living as one. Imam, tell us a little bit about the Quran, your culture, your faith. Currently, there is so much going on around the country, the world. What is it that you can tell us that would bring a little more better light to the Muslim community?
Okay, thank you very much for inviting us. We are from Yonkers Islamic Center, as you mentioned already. The Yonkers Islamic Center was established in 1995 because we realized there are Muslims that do travel out of Yonkers to the Bronx to do Friday prayers. So we established this Yonkers Islamic Center here in 1995 to let people understand what Islam is about. Now, your question you asked me was about the understanding of the Quran. In the first place, we Muslims of the world respect the Quran because we know the Quran has a lot of ingredients also that is from the Bible. The Quran.
Wait a minute, and I'm sorry because I misunderstood you. Yeah. The Quran has a lot of
understanding, also some certain
similarities to the Quran.
Yes. The Quran teaches us. The Quran said, "Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu asta'inu bis-sabr was-salawat inna Allaha ma'a sabirin." It's in the Quran chapter 2. It says, to become a Muslim, you have to exercise patience to the highest of the high. So the Quran, all what is the Quran is talking about is about being patient. But to further go on with your question, we believe in Allah, and we believe in Allah because all the prescriptions from the Quran is teaching us how to be a good citizen. We have few misunderstandings with some few groups who agree with us and we agree with them, but however, the understanding differs. So the Quran, to explain to you what the Quran is talking about, the Quran is talking about how one can exercise patience, peace. That's what the Quran is talking about, and that's what we follow.
So Muslim faith communities go by a Quran who teaches patience, peace. What do we tell those who haven't quite seen patience and peace? What do we when we see a reporter beheaded in another country, such as Daniel Pearl, or a Christian? How is that to be received by the communities? Those who may fear you, those who might fear that for a greater purpose in the Muslim or with Islam might be a threat or might be.
Yeah, I will answer that before it goes to you. My answer here is the understanding of the Quran it has so many stages. Some people will read the Quran. For instance, let's say when our great-grandfather Adam was instructed by the Almighty God that do not eat the apple. But he went ahead and ate the apple. And the reason is that he knew that eating the apple would bring something good. That's why we had Moses, we had Jesus, we had Muhammad. Now, when Almighty God was not happy with him, he prayed that, please forgive me. And the Almighty God, Allah, gave him a words that he will use to beg so that Allah will forgive him. And it's in the Quran. So, in this case, when you read something and you don't understand, you have to ask to get the clear understanding, because the understanding has stages. So in my case, sitting here, the reason people are making the trouble, causing trouble all over the world, that people get confused, is because of the understanding of the Quran.
So it's safe to say, in your view, that the Quran might be misinterpreted
by other people.
By other people. You know, I want to bring it down to you. Tell me a little bit about we were discussing and you were anxious to answer. Tell me, what's your view on this? What's your take? How do I communicate? You know, what do you say to a community that says,
if I can hear you, if I can hear you very well, you mentioned somebody named Dan Per.
I'm sorry?
Somebody you mentioned Dan Per. The question you asked before.
The question that I asked was how the Quran preaches. What are your beliefs?
The Quran is a Islamic noble book, just like a Bible and a Torah.
Is it a book of love?
A book of it's a revelation, which was sent to the Prophet ﷺ. And the whole entire Quran teaches, as Amir have said, patience, peace, and mercy. In his own word, in the Quran, if you want to know the character of Prophet Muhammad, you just have to read the whole entire Quran. And the Quran teaches us that Muhammad was instructed that he wasn't sent in this world he was sent to whole mankind in this world because of the mercy of Allah. That's number one. Number two, any person that have no mercy for the mankind, God is not going to have a mercy for him. That's the basic, you know. So anything more than this, than the peace, patience, and mercy, then it's created by somebody that misunderstood the Quranic interpretation.
Wouldn't you agree that that's a fair amount of misunderstanding? Yes. And what has the Islamic or Muslim community done to prevent the mass murders that are going on, specifically in Iraq?
What I can answer this question.
People killing in the name of
Allah. Islam. That's what I'm trying to say right now. You see, Islam is Islam. There's not such thing called Islamic extremists or Islamic terrorists. There's no such thing. you can only have one. You can have an Islam and be a good Muslim, or you can be a terrorist, but it's not part of Islam. You know, you cannot have both. Islamic terrorism, there's not such thing at all.
So what you're saying is it's
Based on
good and it's bad.
Based on my interpretation, the way I understand Quran, there's no such thing called Islamic extremism, because every extreme character in Quran and the teachings of Muhammad alayhi salatu wasalam is condemned, and there's a lot of verses that we can quote and to support the argument. So,
what do you say? What do you say to somebody who kills in the name of Allah?
That's what I'm trying to say. For him to hold a sword, and the Quran said, any picture that you see someone is holding the sword, and the Quran said, you have to, I'm going to kill for Allah, Torah is false picture. We not regard the person as a Muslim, because not even Muhammad, nobody and his companion have done that. And guess what? He himself, he has faced so much brutality in his own community when he was delivering the message. His people was killed, beat up. He himself was battered, abused physically and mentally, verbally, but he never ordered his companion to do the same. Not his companion take that violent revenge to those who abuse him and mentally and physically, as I was told you. Even those people who are responsible for the murder of his own daughter in the Mecca, when the Mecca was took over, conquered by Muhammad and his soldiers, he forgave all of them. That shows how mercy that Quran is promoting. He's trying to promote the mercy and how the Quran teaches supposed to be.
You want to say something?
Yeah,
I want to hear this.
Yeah, I wanted to top up to what he was saying. Those people, as you asked, who are killing in the name of the religion, they are not. We don't call them Muslims. They are just terrorists, and they are doing everything in extreme. They are not Muslims at all. They are just doing that. And the ignorance, they are killing with ignorance. In the Islamic religion, the first thing is a religion of peace. If you've ever heard that. Has anybody told you that? Islam is a religion of peace. That's the first thing. Yes, you've been told that, right? And then mercy and tolerance. So if they are killing just because the person is not a Muslim, the person is another religion, that means it's too extreme. The person is not a Muslim at all.
Does the Quran teach to lie for the greater good of Islam?
Of course not.
One thing, I know that in the Bible they have the 10 Commandments. It's the same thing. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not lie, thou shalt not bear false witness, thou shalt not. Everything is the same thing.
The same book.
You understand? It's the same thing. You understand?
I understand.
So, yes. So when somebody is stealing, killing in the name of the religion, it's not at all. It is not at all.
That's un-Islamic.
Un-Islamic. And somebody...
And then he has to be responsible for his actions.
Exactly.
This world or hereafter, as we believe.
I remember when we were young, where we were born, when is Islamic celebration, like Ramadan or something, those people, our neighbors who are Christians, they join us to celebrate. And then when it's Christmas time, we make Christmas hats. We go to the farm to get things to make a hat, like this thing, they call it Christmas hat. And we join them too. So things are changing for the bad, and we don't understand. It's tolerance. There's no tolerance, you know. If you really know what if you, as a Christian, you know what the Bible says, it is the same thing almost. in the Quran. That shall
It's
not
all
see
revelation.
that. Oh, it's just a revelation.
Yeah.
So we don't understand. If people are lacking in knowledge, that is when he will say, you are not a Muslim, so I have to kill you. You are not a Muslim, so I have to do this. You are not a Muslim. No, it's not never like that.
So wait a minute. So you believe that Muslims and Christians should coexist?
Exactly.
And Jews and other religions are welcomed into, can coexist and get along in the community. And is that what you're saying?
That's what he inspired us.
What is
And I can name you a number of things just based on what you just said, that from his teaching, including health, human rights, coexistence with your neighbors, different religion background, woman right, the environment, animal rights, charity, equality, education, and social justice. All these things, that's what inspire his people. But violence in any kind is out of the question.
Violence of any kind is out of the question,
Yeah,
is what you allege.
anything extreme to extend to the violence, not even up to the violent level. I can just tell you that it was condemned by Islam.
Recently, I just saw, I personally viewed a documentary that took place in the Middle East where a woman was beheaded publicly for infidelity. Is this something that the Quran teaches as well?
This is a capital punishment. Excuse me. This is a capital punishment based on Sharia. As he just said, he was beheaded or she was beheaded.
She was beheaded.
What did she do? Did she kill somebody?
Is that relevant?
Did she kill somebody intentionally?
Not according to the documentary.
Okay.
According to the documentary,
Yes.
she had an affair. For that affair, she was beheaded. A prayer was said, and the husband took his sword and beheaded her in the middle of the street publicly. This was,
It's unacceptable.
there was an ambulance there ready to take her away. This is all caught on film. What do we say when we have such wonderful people as yourself that have taken the time out to come and tell the community? What would you have me deliver the message? How would you deliver a message when we as a community, if you cheat or if you're if you're an infidel, does that do you support beheading your spouse?
This is what I was talking earlier, that the understanding of the Quran has so many stages. And
is it possible that you're not at that stage yet?
I am
where
at the
this
stage.
is.
I am at the stage where I believe in Libra. I believe in fairness. I believe in what the Quran says, doing unto others as you will have them do unto you. Well, all the scriptures made mention of that. Do unto others as you will have them do unto you. So, for instance, talking about beheading somebody because of their fault is very wrong. If you go if you go to the Quran and you have a real explanation in detail of maybe some kind of phrase that is talking about that, there is nothing of that nature that somebody should be beheaded. For instance, talking about fornication, there has been in the Quran that if you caught somebody, you have to go 2 miles away to get a witness to come, and you need 4 witnesses. Every witness should at least travel about 2 miles to bring another witness to make sure that they saw that this person is committing adultery. So it's like 0. But
so it is. So when you do have 4 witnesses and it's confirmed, is the answer decapitating.
No, the answer is not decapitating, but
So what do you
know.
tell? So what do you tell the people of Islam in
the conditions,
Jordan?
the conditions for that stage is going to be almost impossible for you to find that kind of witnesses. Let's say somebody committed adultery. Okay, who was the witnesses? How did they see? Did they see the real penetration when the person was having an affair? 4 people at the same time?
So they made
You can bring that kind of witness.
You know,
But if you can be able to bring that witness, you fail even one, then forget about any any punishment on that person. So if anything happened without all these conditions, then what they did is a crime. It's not a punishment. They commit a crime
They committed a crime
Right.
punishable.
without a tangible witness. The condition that lie on that level is going to be almost impossible for you to bring that kind of witness. Based on the Sharia.
So I'm a little confused.
Okay.
We're not allowed to decapitate her if there hasn't been 4 witnesses, or is that?
If the person comes with the 4 witnesses, and the 4 witnesses said, we all saw the real penetration during the whatever action that was taken, then at that point, the punishment is eligible, but not decapitation. They need to be stoned. That's a Sharia law.
So the law made it in the way that
And are we looking to adapt and incorporate Sharia laws into the United States?
No.
And feel that this would be a welcomed.
United States is not a
Embraced.
country of Islam.
I beg your pardon?
This can only happen in the Islamic country. Yeah, this is not an Islamic country.
Is there an agenda that you believe that we're trying to make this into an Islamic country?
In this country?
In this country?
Of course not.
No,
No,
not at all.
not at all.
So we're able to practice according to the Quran, not adopt its Sharia law, and implement and put into place those sorts of punishable crimes just because we're not an Islamic country?
No, any punishment, any punishment based on Sharia can only happen in Islamic country, not
Purely Islamic.
police, not the country that is not Islamic. Yep.
So only Islamic.
Only
so
Islamic
we couldn't
country.
adopt or bring this
No,
into
no,
the
no.
United
You
States
can bring it
or
over here.
emulate into.
Of course, they have. The United States is not Islamic country, and they have its own constitutions. In this case, we were ordered to obey the Constitution of the United States based on the Islamic.
and
You know.
can I come in?
Yes, please.
Also, the Constitution, the United States Constitution, has most of the rules and regulations that coexist with the Quran. Most of the Constitution that the American government is using, the rules and regulations are also from Quran. So for instance, taking good care of your wife, don't make your wife a slave, taking good care of your children, all this is in the Quran, and the American government has adopted it.
Do you, is it, just recently I read an article, couldn't wait to actually meet with you guys. Is it true that in a Muslim or Islamic family, if a woman or wife, a wife could be hit so long as she's not bruised? Is that
A wife could be what?
Hit? No.
No. So
A wife could be done what?
it is not observed that
No, the
we don't hit our wife
We
if
don't
she
hit
doesn't
a,
listen,
we don't hit a
or
woman.
we don't hit women.
We don't hit a woman.
Not at all.
This is an article that is written by some people that, believe me.
The Quran itself made mention that when your wife offend you, use a fabric, to punish her, or a leaf, which means it's like they're telling you that no punishment, just talk and advise your wife.
No hitting. Prophet never hit his wife. Why would we do that? And he advises. So let's say the woman was created from a man. And he put this way, from the Adam's ribs, that woman was created. And you know how the ribs is. It's like an arrow. What happens if you try to bend straight the arrow? You break it. So don't try even to change a woman because they are women. You just try to learn more of a woman. No hidden, no nothing. They have a great, what do you call it?
Interestingly, let me just put this out there. You made a comparison to the United States Constitution with religion, and the United States is known to stand by its Constitution. With that being said, we recognize religious beliefs, and the freedom of religion is a very strong constitutional right here in the United States. Why would anybody be led to believe? I mean, we've fought hard against domestic violence. We have condemned people of violence at any sort amongst one another, specifically in the family and in the home. Whether or not there's witnesses to a infidel, or why wouldn't we as United States citizens be fearful that that Islam wouldn't be protected under under our religious order? Can you answer that?
No, the Islam has been protected fully by the United States.
With the exception of?
In this country. And the United States has given comfort to poor people, just as the Quran mentioned, that you don't let somebody go hungry. You don't let somebody go sick without being able to take care of himself. All is in the Quran. There are good stuff in the Quran that we need to address. Any other thing that you see that is very serious and is very painful to us with the Muslims is politics. That's how we see it. Most of it is politics.
Wait a minute. We're gonna go. I watched Iraq. We left Iraq years ago, and I just, right before my very eyes, have seen Iraq turn around. And that's concerning to me, and I think that that's concerning to everybody in the community, all in the name of Allah. I'm watching Christians beheaded. What do we tell these people?
That's wrong. That's what we're talking about.
That's what
Anything that we see.
We saw an entire country overrun by Islam, what you may or may not refer to as Muslim. They go and they kill in the name of Allah.
They're just using the cover.
How do you handle these sorts of situations? Because at the end of the day, it falls on you. It falls on your image.
Yeah. Can I come in?
Please.
Yeah. These things are very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate, because the main thing is our people, most of them indigenously, are not highly educated. You get me?
That's ignorance.
So ignorance. So if you look at long time ago, the Christian crusaders, they were doing the same thing. Almost. Listen. So when they got the education and then the eye opener, nobody is doing that again. You understand? But our people are left far, 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 far back. So when you go to a country, those who are highly educated, no one will ever think about that. The indigenous, the religion becomes so fanatical, and then everything they do it because everybody falls for their religion. When they are doing anything, whether bad, that this is bad, they use the name of their religion that is Islamic. I have to, you don't pray, so
And
I have to
tarnish
kill you.
Islamic.
And tarnish the name.
Tarnish the name.
You understand? This is how the thing is.
You know, they can do better
So if they are able to
to
get
make
good
Islam look better,
education,
but they choose the violent way. This is unacceptable.
If somebody were killing in the name of Allah, and this is your God, what have you done? These are infidels then. Wouldn't you agree? These are people who are killing in the name of Allah. What have you done to prevent or stop?
I will come in. Like the sister just said. Like the sister just said.
That's what he did.
Because our people have very minimum education. Again, the understanding of the Quran is very confused by some people. Few people.
A whole
and
country.
Right now, we
a
in
whole
Yonkers.
country, and then some.
No,
We've had bombings in France now, just recently. We've had Iraq overtaken, which is heartbreaking for me to hear of Christians that are being beheaded. We had one of our, and I'd like to address a few of our members had some questions they wanted to address with you guys, if that's okay. Yeah, we're okay with that. Divinity Eternally says, is Allah love? The Bible says that God is love. Divinity quotes 1 John 4:16, and that he loves all people. Matt 5:43-48, John 3:16. The Quran never says that God is love.
It says.
oh, it says.
It says.
In fact, the Quran says that Allah does not love unbelievers. Is that true?
No.
Allah does love unbelievers.
He loves
He will
everybody.
love you.
That's what he said. You, Muhammad, I sent you to all mankind. He didn't say I sent you to only believers. All mankind, just for the mercy of him. That's his words. And he said, anybody that take one soul life unlawfully, it's like he took the whole mankind's life.
Divinity also goes into what is the connection between Muslims and ISIS, and what are your thoughts in regards to ISIS saying that they are Muslims?
Yeah, not Muslims.
I'm not look. I'll talk frankly here. I'm not entirely convinced that we're denouncing due to ignorance of the Quran. Then there's an obligation of the higher up in the Muslim community to lead by example and take these people and educate them. If we're going to play the card of ignorance, when somebody's killing in the name of Allah, my question to you is again, what have what is your community, those who know, what have you done to stop this? We can't blame ignorance with violence or vice versa. We can't say because Islam or people with Muslim faith are ignorant, thereby they practice a different part of the Quran. We can't make excuses for people who, and just putting that aside. I mean, what do we say about physicians or people in high-powered professionals that are acting in the behavior in which is unbecoming from what you tell me as a good Muslim?
Well,
again, if you read the book, the Noble Book, and Prophet Muhammad's teaching, nothing will recommend you for this acting that is going on. So if you have this kind of people supporting, they might have their own agenda. It's just unfortunate. Maybe they might be a Muslim, but the question is it a right thing to do? Absolutely. And that is not going to happen here. That's what we're teaching our kids here in the United States. As Amir was trying to say.
Is this when we opened up? What we said. I asked a question about the Quran, and it teaches patience. You said you led a good citizen, peace. This is we're not seeing that.
Well,
This is contrary.
I don't agree with you.
If you come with a community like our community over here,
No.
going to the masjid and you talk to people, you see that. But just people pay attention, the small individual people acting stupid outside, they have no idea what they want. Or whatever they want is up to them, but they're not doing Islam favor for doing that. Islam don't teach no violence. They might try to do something out of box to promote their own political agenda, fine, but don't call Islamic name on this. You know why? As I said,
I have a question from a member. Jennifer Weigel Holland would like to know about the compounds around the United States, such as Islamburg. What goes on there? Some refer to them as training camps, trainings for what to take. They want to know. 2 hours away from New York City is an area called Islamburg, where it's alleged that Muslims and people of Islam are praying. Is that untrue?
I don't know. I never even heard of this.
Islamburg.
What they doing?
Sir, one more time. If the training camp is for the violence, they can go to hell. If they want to use it, according to the Quran and Sunnah, as I was telling you, the Muhammad teaching.
Well, it's on. We don't know.
We don't know, but
we don't know.
What he's saying.
Islamburg consists of a community of Muslims.
I understand what you're saying, but you see, no, so I don't know about them, but the point I'm trying to make about if their mission or training camp, whatever it is for the Islam, if that's what they're thinking, then they are dead wrong. And if it's a violence reason, they can go to hell, because I have a chapter in the Quran and a hadith which is Muhammad's teaching that condemn it. Listen, let's talk about violence. Even in the worshiping way, if you worship extremely, right? You have to eat it. If you go extreme, it's condemned. I mean, it's not acceptable. And I can give you an example for that. Let me just, I'm just
when we say. Can I say something?
Sure.
Yeah. What is going on right now is that it's so easy, very, very easy for the radicals to do anything in the name of Islam.
That's it.
You understand me?
I understand.
It's so easy.
And knowing that, what have you done? Has there been a million-man march? Has there been a peace operation? Has the Islamic Muslim community, the good Islamic Muslim community that alleges not to be
First, can I speak? First, everything good or bad to do is from the mind. And what we are doing in our community is educating right from the children.
And that's what we do for teaching our kids.
We're teaching our kids here. We have forums. And this one, we are doing it with all seriousness so that they don't become extremists. You understand? That one, we are teaching them what to do, of the Quran, how to interpret it, and everything. You understand? So I have said it again that the ignorance. So if these children grow with what the teachings we are giving them right now, and then
they're gonna spread it?
There is no way they are going to be such extremists. When you talk about, I was telling you about Turkey. Turkey is 90% Muslims, 90. But if you go with this extreme, these things, unless you hide, unless they don't get you, you go out from the country. You understand? They are 90%, but everything is so peaceful because most of them have the education. So everything is education. Everything is education.
Let me just contribute a little bit something, please, if you can allow me. Okay, listen. You see, as I said, there's no such thing called extreme. Extremism has been condemned since the day one. 3 people, companions, came to the wife of Prophet one day, and they said they want to know how the Prophet prayed and why he's still praying after all his sins was forgiven the one he did and the one he did not, and why still praying. And she explained to them, she told them. And they will say, okay, if he, in this higher position, as the man he is, if he's still praying, then I have to pray non-stop. He's going to keep praying non-stop. He's not going to sleep. And the other one said, I'm going to be fasting, and I'm not going to break my fasting for the rest of my life. And the third one said, you know what, I'm going to stay holy. I'm not going to get married. I'm going to stay like that, just keep worshiping until the day I die. So the prophet heard this, and he called them. I said, you guys are the one say so and so such thing? And they said yes. And he said, do you know that I'm more of acceptable to Allah than you guys? And I still pray and sleep in the night. And I fast and break a fasting, and I'm a married woman. So anybody that did anything beyond this is not part of me. So that's the kind of man we're dealing with. That's worshiping in terms of extreme. So not even mention the violence. So I will appreciate if the violent thing will take off, and the question will remain, how can we do to educate people are calling themselves Muslim and acting things like that? You know, that's what I think we should be talking about. But accepting,
I believe you. I would love to sit here and talk about that, but those aren't the current affairs at this point, are they? You know, the current affairs are, we have Muslim extremists. You don't want, you can't just turn a blind eye because it doesn't suit or it may not fit the profile. I mean, we have a member, David Limekiller, comes up with a good question about death penalties for being gay, let's say. Is there a death penalty for being gay?
I have no knowledge about that.
I beg your pardon?
I have no knowledge about that.
There's nothing like
So there's nothing like that in the...
Death penalty for the gay, I don't know nothing about that.
That's not in the Quran.
You see, we have no right to judge people.
I'm not judging.
No. I'm not saying you judge him.
Right.
Somebody said gay.
I see what you're
Why
saying.
would I judge the person and punish him? God is going to take his course, not me. My duty is advise him if I know it's not good. If I know it's not good, my thing to advise him and preach to him. But to judge him and take a punishment on him, that's wrong.
And plus, the Quran said clearly by Allah that you do not judge somebody because of what they do.
Because of his status.
If they don't
it's
kill
not your
you,
place to judge the person.
You have no right to judge somebody. So to punish somebody because they are gay, that is totally wrong.
That's between he and his God.
Islam
That's
is against that completely. But when my sister was talking about ignorance, and I wanted to say something as to that too when the question went to this level. The thing is, you see, Muslims, if you look in Manhattan, go to every restaurant, you can see that most restaurants, when they employ the Muslims, they are happy with them because they are very honest and they do the right thing. When we're talking about ignorance is the only problem that is causing Islam population, you know, to be underrated, to be seen as bad people. Mm-hmm. But you see, when it comes to America, helping the Muslims, going by Muslims' laws, like for instance, zakat, when we say zakat, charity, America is doing in the whole world is number one in helping individuals. But what we need to do now, what we should put our direction to, I made mention of that 1,000 miles journey begins with the first steps. So maybe we can start something. For instance, we are trying to form an ulama non-profit organization,
non-profit organization
for ulamas. The ulama means a very knowledgeable Muslim, top high-ranking, more than sheikh. We're trying to organize that ulamas organization of New York State. So we can start talking to people, not necessarily giving them education, letting them know that this is not right, this is right. This is not right, this is right. Okay, if you quote in the Quran and say, oh, when you say this is not right, but this is what he said in the Quran, and then somebody should be able to tell him that, yeah, the meaning is to you, that's how you understand it. But if we want to give you the detailed meaning, that's not what it meant. So, talking about the ignorance when people are misbehaving and causing trouble, is because they do not have the actual understanding of the Quran.
Somebody said, I'm not cutting you.
So
how could you go and shoot somebody and kill him because he draw a picture of Prophet? Is that?
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make no sense.
It makes no sense. Yes. But this is what we're seeing.
He himself.
And what we're not seeing is and here's probably one of the reasons why so many are skeptical. When somebody is killing in the name of Allah, and it's taken so many years to address this and say, hey, wait a minute, what are we doing? Well, where are the Muslims who aren't killing in the name of Allah? Why are they not stepping up? Why are we not seeing them in the media? Why are we not seeing an action, a peaceful action against or denouncing the behaviors?
Based on your interview?
Yes.
You have to be, if people like you as a media, you can help to put this on the air, to let people know where we stand and what in the terms of Islam, and the perspective of Islamic and how it teaches. If people begin to hear this on the air regularly, it can have to change.
What I'd like to do, guys, is ask you some questions that our members have actually asked me to ask you. Okay. So if we're covering and recovering, and you can answer how you deem fit, and I won't protest your answer. But Pat McClure, do the peaceful and prayerful Muslims feel any responsibility to set their own house in order so that they do not get lumped in with the radical, murderous, militarized, Muslims, and bring peace and understanding between Muslims?
This is what we are doing now.
We can't do anything better than what we're doing now. We are a small community.
We are small communities. So
and if you look at what we've been doing over here for the past, we grew up so. I think started for like a couple of people.
But what Cheryl Love asks is, what separates them from the radical Islamic? How do we know we can really trust them, that they are not using their place of worship to hide members of sleeper cells in Yonkers?
Again, here we go again.
These are issues that are prevalent. These are
good question. It's a good question. The answer to that is we don't have such Islamic extremists. There's no such language. The thing is, we only have Islam and what Islam teaches us. Anything extreme is their own. And they're not hiding behind the Islamic Marxists to do their act.
The man who preached today, if we should have recorded his message. His message was just
the same about the topic. Condemning
it's very coincidence.
Because if you look at the history of Prophet and the way he came and how he was treated, and his answers to them, it's amazing.
He said, how do you go?
Based on his teaching, that's what we follow. Why would you go the other way?
Carlos Henriquez.
So I think there are some questions to the world leaders. Maybe they can have answer for this, because I believe in politics a lot.
We have a member. We have a member named Carlos Henriquez, and Carlos asks, why do women who escape the chains of the Taliban come here and continue to practice their ways, like wearing a full barakas
Here we go again.
in public?
The Taliban are extremists.
So that's the answer to that.
The Taliban are extremists. You can draw the line between Islam and extreme. These people, Taliban, nothing less than ignorant.
Now wait a minute. Carlos goes on to asking as well, folks, and I think this is a very good question, is why do most Muslims reject the idea to assimilate into American society? Would you say that that's a true?
In what way?
Where?
In what way? In what way are they talking about?
Do you believe?
For example, give us an example what we're talking about. Okay, so it's not right question. I don't think
because Muslims, they mix up with Christians.
When they come at first, the first few months and so on is very difficult. But after some few months, or let me say 1 year, they assimilate. They become part of American society.
Listen, all they ask is cover your head, right?
But that's the, you know, arguably speaking, we could, you know, anybody could view this and say, well, you know, cover your head. It's not happening. But you got Islam has had mass murdering for thousands of years, and
which one are you talking about? The thing that they, you know,
just in general, and what you just said. What you just said was, we asked you a question, and well, hear no evil, see no evil, right?
Yeah, you're gonna. You see,
right or wrong?
No,
that's right.
That's correct.
The thing is, the Quran specifically said, if you come before Allah to do your prayers, like the worship, you cover yourself. Especially a woman, you cover your hair, you know,
you see how
you
the
cover nicely.
Dress,
but for men, you can wear up to your knee. Even your face can show up. Okay, but however, after the prayers, when you come outside, that remains between you and your husband. Maybe your husband said, do not go out uncovered. Fine.
Do you remember one Miss America who is a Muslim from Michigan? I've forgotten her name.
I don't know.
I'm sorry, I don't
think
you remember that? Yeah.
Something like that.
She was Miss America, but she's a Muslim, and she's one of the. There is a place in Michigan. Most Muslims are there.
I think your question is you trying to make a question about hijab.
Let me come.
No, it's people who brought us.
Let me come in.
I know. That's what I'm trying to clarify.
The outfit, specifically according to the Quran, if you are in the mosque for prayers, you can cover. But to go outside, to go to work and all that, it depends your husband. If your husband says, listen, you can go the way Western go to go and work, but when you come home before you pray, you have to cover, that is allowed.
David Limekiller, another, I just have to kind of move it along in the interest of time, guys, but David Limekiller poses a good question. Does a Muslim owe his allegiance to his country or Islam? How does the Islamic crime of insulting Islam coexist with the First Amendment of the United States? Does Islamic law require a woman to be covered? In which we just went ahead and covered that. But David, good question. A quick answer.
Yeah, the quick answer is when you Quran supports. If you go to Rome, you do what Romans do. But if they're killing, you don't kill. So when you come to United Kingdom, and what their tradition is, you can join them. That is permissible. You know. And
but
also,
that does not mean that you should leave.
And also the Quran teaches us that you go to somebody's country, you become their family. So, if somebody comes to America or go to Western country and start talking against them, that is haram. That is against the Quran. You need to respect, number one, the rules and regulations of the land before even your faith. As long as the country is not telling you that walk naked, go eat pork freely while there's meat for you to eat, because the Islam forbids eating pork. So that, and even they said, if there's no meat and there's a pork, that's the only meat there, then you are free to eat it.
Well, on that note, firstly, I want to take this minute here, and we have to wrap up. But I want to thank you, and I hope that we're able to actually come back and do this again and clear up some of the matters. We're going to reach out to the members. You know, a lot of our members, such as Donna Davis, was interested in hearing what you were doing for the community. I think we covered that, and thank you for your comments, Donna, Divinity, Carlos, Jennifer, Patrick.
See, just about the last week, we have this meeting with the Karma organization.
I have not heard about it.
the peace.
But we have to end this interview. Well, what I would do is I would love to come back and revisit this.
Please do, because the reason when you call me, I have to respect your call. I told you that you wait for the imam to come, he's traveling. But you say, oh, our time, and I said, okay, we will come. If you want to come back, while the imam is, as soon as the imam comes back, I'll call you.
I think what we're going to do is we're going to revisit this. And again, I'm Roberto Faru. I'd like to thank everybody again for taking the time out. It's been